Hi, sixth graders. It's Mrs. McLean coming in for week number 3 of e-learning. It's hard to believe that we are already on week 3 of this. And we had 2 weeks before, so our 5th week at home. I hope you guys are all still doing well. And if you ever need to talk or do anything, get a hold of someone, go ahead and feel free to email me. You could also get a hold of Mrs. Harris or some of your other teachers if you need to as well. I'm looking forward to another week of giving you some science information. This week we're going to focus on land biomes. But before we get started, I just want to remind you of the new policy as far as turning in your work. Your work is not due until Monday evening at 11:59. If you get it done beforehand, awesome, great. If you need till Monday, then take it. Just know that probably I will check in with you by Thursday if I haven't heard from you. And then again, probably Saturday or Sunday, just to remind you that your work is due and I hadn't received anything from you. Okay, it's going to be kind of a colder week this week, so maybe just to get your work done early. Okay, well, let's get started with the lesson. We are ready for Brain Science with Mrs. McLean, Season 1, Episode 3, Land Biomes, Part 1 of 2. In today's lesson, we're going to be talking about land biomes, and a biome is a geographical area on Earth that contains ecosystems with similar biotic and abiotic factors. Just keep in mind that biotic means the living things, and abiotic means non-living things. Before we get started, though, you need to be aware that there are 3 different climate zones on our Earth. If you look at the picture, there are polar, tropical, and temperate climate zones. Polar is pink, tropical is the green, and temperate is the yellowish orange color. The desert is the first land biome that we are going to talk about this week. And many of you already know some things about deserts that, first off, that they're very dry. Okay, all deserts have very little rain, and that's what first classifies them as a desert. The misconception is that not all deserts are hot, which is what most of you would think. Okay, deserts are typically hot or warm during the day, but they are cold at night, except for deserts that are in Antarctica. Yes, I said that, Antarctica. There are parts in Antarctica that are considered desert, and that's simply because the amount of rainfall they receive each year. But they are a cold desert. When it does rain in the desert, the soil is very thin and porous, which allows the rainwater, causes the rainwater to drain really quickly. Because of this quick drainage, plants in the desert are going to have very shallow roots that allow them to quickly absorb the water before the water falls through the soil. If there is damage to these plants because of the lack of rain that they receive, they grow very slowly, and it would take years for these plants to recover. Animals in the desert are your common animals that you think of when you think of the desert. Lizards, snakes, bats, salamanders, creepy crawly things. The difference, though, with animals in the desert versus animals where we live is that these animals typically hide out during the hottest parts of the day, and so they are usually considered nocturnal. Humans in the desert, though, have changed the dynamic or changed the ecosystem for these animals and plants by developing cities and recreational areas. They also use water. Humans need water, so we take up some of those valuable resources that these plants and animals need to survive. Grassland biomes are our next land biome that we're going to talk about. And these are simply areas where grasses are the dominant plants. Some of you may be familiar with them being called prairies, savannas, or meadows. And in a grassland, they have both rainy seasons, but they also have a drought season. And which is what, because of the drought season, their trees are going to grow along the rivers rather than out in the open in a clump of forest. In the grasslands, you're going to find large herbivores like bison and elk, things that we don't see typically around where we are. They also, though, have snakes and rabbits and prairie dogs, and those animals are going to use those tall grasses to help give them shelter from hawks and coyotes or other predators. Humans have also impacted the grasslands by clearing out those areas and creating more farmland for them. Humans also typically visit the grasslands in order to hunt for those large herbivores like bison and elk. The tropical rainforest biome is our next land biome, and this biome is very specific to those climate zones we talked about. In the name tropical rainforest, these are forests that are only found near the equator. Okay, they are in a tropical climate zone, which means that they have to be warm. They also, since they are a rainforest, have a lot of rain or high rainfall all year long. In these tropical rainforests, the trees are super, super tall and they're very close together, which creates something called a canopy. And that canopy causes or doesn't allow very much sunlight to actually reach the floor of the forest. And so there aren't very many plants that typically grow on the ground in a tropical rainforest. An interesting fact with the tropical rainforest is that if you knew all of the different species of plants and animals that we have living here on Earth, half of them would be found in the tropical rainforest biome, which is kind of surprising because the tropical rainforest is one of the smaller areas on our Earth. It takes up less or not as much land mass as some of the other biomes that we're going to talk about, but they have more species than any of the others. Tropical rainforests, though, have very poor soil, which doesn't allow new growth to happen very quickly. So those tall trees, they're really established, but it's hard for new things to become established. Because of all the rain, the soil gets washed away rather quickly. Humans, though, have cleared more than half of these areas. And as humans, we use the area for lumber and we create farms or also ranches. As we clear these areas for lumber, though, because of the poor soil, there's not going to be able to be a replacement or regrowth of these tropical rainforests. Our last land biome for the day is called the temperate rainforest. And just like the name says, that these rainforests are found in the temperate climate zone, which is their biggest difference from the temperate to the tropical rainforest are simply the temperatures. Temperate are going to have a more mild climate, so it's not going to be as hot. The temperate rainforest biomes are going to be found in along coastal regions, and because of the name rainforest, they are moist ecosystems, meaning they have a lot of rainfall. Coastal regions mean that they grow on, or they are found on coastlines. Okay, another difference from the tropical rainforest to the temperate rainforest are just the types of trees and plants that are growing there. There are many trees, but they don't grow as tall as the ones in the tropical rainforest. And because they aren't as tall and don't create that canopy, there's going to be able to be more things growing on the forest floor, like ferns and moss and smaller plants. There is a variety of animals that live here in the temperate rainforest. There's frogs to butterflies to raccoons, deer, bear, and many more. Because they're in the temperate climate zone, the temperatures are going to allow for a larger variety. Think about we live in the temperate climate zone and think about the difference in our temperatures throughout the year. Humans in this area are going to use this area for lumber. They're going to cut down trees so that they can have more lumber. This would lead to another difference between the temperate rainforest and the tropical rainforest. In a tropical rainforest, when the trees are cut down, they can't regrow very quickly. But in the temperate rainforest, because of the rich soil, the trees are able to recover and regrow. Let's take a look at your assignment for this week. you are going to be creating a Venn diagram. And so you are going to choose 2 out of the 4 land biomes that were talked about in today's lesson, whether it's the desert, the grasslands, the tropical rainforest, or the temperate rainforest. And then you are going to compare and contrast the 2 of them. I would like for you to try to come up with 3 to 4 items for each category. Then, just like always, you will submit it on Canvas. Then you'll look for your journal writing, and that will be all for the week. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. Go ahead and get started on your Venn diagrams, get those turned into me, and then finish your journal writing for the week. Just like always, if you need anything or have any questions, get a hold of me. Email's the easiest way.